Across China right now, thousands of automotive dealerships are paralyzed. The lots are packed with brand new cars, but buyers are nowhere to be found. This chart tracks China's auto sales against industry profit margins. In April 2026, sales dropped 21.5% and margins sank to 3.2%. The pressure hits dealerships hardest, with inventory warnings at 62.1%, signaling massive overstock. 81% of dealers now sell vehicles at a loss. These metrics point to an industry-wide collapse, yet the Chinese auto sector is actually expanding its total output. The top-line numbers mask two different shifts happening at once. While domestic sales for traditional fuel vehicles are contracting, the industry is seeing a high-volume surge in global exports. The domestic retail market and the export sector are now moving in opposite directions, creating a structural split between the industry's traditional foundation and its new growth model. For traditional gas-powered cars, the domestic environment is becoming increasingly difficult. High global oil prices have elevated the daily operating costs for average drivers, depressing the demand for new fuel-burning models. This chart illustrates the scale of that withdrawal. In April 2026, fuel car sales fell by 365,000 units. That decline accounts for 84% of the total drop across the entire Chinese passenger car market. As those traditional gas models disappear from the roads, new battery-powered electric alternatives are rapidly rushing in to fill the expanding gap. Looking at this market penetration gauge, you can see the crossover. In April 2026, new energy vehicles moved past the 60% adoption threshold for the first time, reaching 61.4% of the domestic market. This shift is being accelerated by the flow of government subsidies. The 2026 National Trade-in Policy offers a 12% subsidy for scrapping an old car to buy a new EV, but caps that reward at 10% if the buyer chooses another gas model. For the first time, most Chinese car buyers moved away from the internal combustion engine, marking a structural transition in the world's largest auto market. This shift has created an immediate crisis for legacy foreign automakers and their joint ventures, companies with massive infrastructure designed exclusively for a fuel car market that is rapidly shrinking. Entities like SAIC Volkswagen and FAW Volkswagen are now facing a severe contraction as their traditional product lines lose relevance with local consumers. The impact at the dealership level is significant. Honda saw its Chinese terminal sales drop by more than 48% in April compared to last year. While foreign joint ventures lose ground, domestic independent brands captured market share by prioritizing electric vehicles. Market leaders now compete on technical specifications rather than just price. They focus on increasing battery density and standardizing autonomous driving systems across their lineups. However, this competition, often called nijuan or inner role, forces companies to cut retail prices so aggressively that profit margins on domestic sales are nearly non-existent. To maintain solvency, these companies are turning to international markets where profit margins are not yet dictated by the domestic price war. This has resulted in a massive surge in outbound shipments, with thousands of vehicles being loaded onto cargo ships at Chinese ports every day. This chart shows the impact. In April 2026, Chinese vehicle exports surged by 80.7% over the previous year. New energy vehicles moved into the majority, making up 52.7% of all exports. The strategy? Use higher-priced international markets to offset domestic price war losses. BYD is a clear example. Despite thin margins at home, their corporate profit margin rose to 18.8% in the first quarter, driven largely by highly profitable overseas sales. This export strategy is now facing political resistance. The European Union, for example, has introduced anti-subsidy tariffs as high as 36.3% on Chinese electric vehicles to protect local industries. To move past these trade barriers, Chinese automakers are shifting their approach. Instead of just exporting cars, they are beginning to export their manufacturing capacity. They are establishing localized manufacturing hubs around the world. By building assembly plants in Europe, South America, and Southeast Asia, these companies integrate into local markets and avoid import taxes. These resilient companies are now rapidly replicating their domestic production speed in newly established regional hubs across multiple continents. The domestic price war forced a rapid adaptation. Chinese automakers emerged with a cost structure and production scale designed to operate at a global